The screen glows in the dark. A relentless stream of notifications. 100 messages. 100 men begging for a single scrap of her attention. She swipes them away, one after another, her thumb moving with the cold rhythm of habit. It is a flood of noise, a desperate chorus of voices all shouting for the same thing. Then she stops. Her thumb hovers, unmoving against the glass. A single name appears on the display. It does not demand. It does not plead. It simply exists. The rest of the world seems to blur as she stares at that name, the only one that carries weight in a room full of hollow echoes. She has spent her life surrounded by men who offer everything, yet she feels a sudden, sharp coldness at the thought of losing the one who offers nothing at all. The silence of his presence is louder than every notification combined. She keeps the phone face down, but the name remains burned into her focus. She is used to the chase, but she is terrified of the void where he used to be. The game has changed, and for the first time, she is the one left waiting for a signal that may never come. If you are still waiting for her to notice you, stop. You are not a spectator in your own life. Every time you reach for your phone to check if she has seen your message, you give away a piece of your power. You are drowning in the noise of your own neediness, thinking that attention is currency. It is not. The men she ignores are the ones who think constant availability is devotion. They are wrong. Before we go deeper, look at your own actions. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, and comment Stoic below if you are finally done chasing validation. You are here because you are ready to stop being another face in the crowd. You are ready to become the man she can never replace. This is not about tricks or games. This is about reclaiming the space you have surrendered. A man who begs for interest is a man who admits he has no higher purpose. When you stop chasing, you begin to build. You start to focus on your mission, your craft, and your own internal standard. If you want to be the man she fears losing, you must first become the man who does not need her to exist. Are you ready to stop playing the game and start owning your board? Most men act like a mirror. They reflect her chaos. If she is anxious, they become anxious. If she is angry, they become defensive. They think this is empathy. It is not. It is weakness. She does not want a reflection of her own instability. She is searching for something solid. She wants a mountain. A mountain does not panic when the wind picks up. It does not apologize to the storm. It remains unmoved. When she brings her drama, when she tests your boundaries, she is looking to see if you will crack. She wants to know if you are a foundation or a pile of loose sand. When you stand firm, you offer her the only thing she truly craves: safety. Not the safety of coddling, but the safety of a man who knows exactly who he is. A mountain does not need to explain its height. It does not need to tell the sky how strong it is. It simply exists, massive and unyielding. The storm eventually exhausts itself against the rock, and the sky clears. That is the power of the man who remains anchored. He does not move. He does not chase. He remains the center of gravity that forces her to adjust her own orbit. You stop being a participant in her turbulence and start being the one thing that survives it. Let us address the first principle of your transformation. Number 1, competing for her is an act of fundamental weakness. When you enter the arena of the common man, you immediately forfeit your status. You step down from your own height to join a fray that was never meant for you. Look at the landscape of modern interaction. You see men jockeying for position, trading their dignity for a sliver of her focus. They think they are winning. They are actually losing their essence. When you compete, you admit that your value is dependent on her selection. You tell the world that you have no mission, no craft, and no iron of your own to forge. You become a participant in a race where the prize is merely a distraction from your own potential. A man with a true purpose does not look at the other men in the room. He does not measure his worth against their failures. He is busy building his own reality. When you stop trying to outperform other men, you stop being a competitor and start being a leader of your own life. Competition is the language of the desperate. Mastery is the language of the man who has already won the only battle that matters, the one against his own need for approval. Stop looking at who else is standing near her. Look only at the road beneath your feet. Now, observe the room. See the men gathered around her. They are a blur of frantic energy. They pulse with a desperate rhythm, constantly adjusting their posture, checking for her glance, and waiting for a signal to speak. To her, they are not individuals. They are static. They are merely a crowded room of voices, all competing for the same frequency. She senses the vibration of their neediness in the way they pace. It is a frantic, back-and-forth movement that betrays a lack of internal direction. They have no mission that pulls them toward the door. They have no iron to forge. They are tethered to her gaze, tethered to the hope that she might choose them from the pile. She feels this desperation radiating from them like heat. It is exhausting to witness, because they have no purpose of their own. They have nothing to offer but their own hunger. They are just another background noise, a chorus of echoes trying to drown out the silence. When you act like them, you blend into the wallpaper. You become part of the background, a feature of the scenery she eventually ignores. She does not look for a man who is waiting to be picked. She looks for the one who has already left the room to pursue his own life. Then there is the shift. The moment the air changes, a man enters who does not acknowledge the game. He does not look for her approval, nor does he measure his stride against the pace of others. He occupies a space that the crowd cannot touch. When you cease to compete, you create a vacuum in the room. The frantic noise of the others begins to sound thin, hollow, and performative. She feels this. She sees you standing apart, anchored in a stillness that demands nothing from her. Your silence is not an absence, it is a weight. It is a presence that lingers, a force that shifts the geometry of the room. Where the other men are loud with their need, you are heavy with your resolve. She finds herself drawn to the edge of your orbit, not because you beckoned, but because you refused to move. The tension builds in the quiet gaps between your breaths. You are no longer one of the many. You are a fixed point in a room full of flickering lights. She stops looking at the crowd and starts looking for the reason behind your calm. This is how you reclaim the space. You do not shout to be heard. You simply exist, unmoved by the storm of others, and in that silence, you become the only thing she notices. Now, turn your gaze to the man who has left the arena entirely. He is not in the room. He is not checking his phone for a notification. He is in the gym, his palms calloused and white with chalk, gripping cold steel. The rhythmic clatter of iron plates is his only soundtrack. He is deep in the repetition of his craft, his breathing controlled, his eyes fixed on the path of the bar. He does not count the minutes until the day ends. He counts the tension in his muscles. There is a precise mechanical beauty in this work. He moves with a deliberate, heavy grace that comes from knowing exactly what he is building. He is not looking for her reflection in the mirror. He is looking at his own form, checking his progress against the standard he set for himself yesterday. Every rep is a statement of ownership. Every bead of sweat is a byproduct of a singular focus that does not bend to outside input. She could walk in right now, and he would not pause. He would not stutter his rhythm. He would continue, locked into the mechanical reality of his own improvement. This is not coldness. This is the absolute completeness of a man who has replaced the need for approval with the reality of his own iron. This is where the dynamic shatters. You are not just a man with a routine. You are an anchor. An anchor does not apologize for the weight it carries. It sits at the bottom of the chaos, holding the ground while the waves break themselves against the surface. When you embody this, you become dangerous. She feels it the moment she steps into your proximity. She tries to stir the water to see if you will drift, to see if your focus will flicker. She sends a text. She walks into your line of sight. She creates a minor crisis. She watches for a reaction. and she finds nothing but the same steady, rhythmic pulse of your life. You do not move. You do not scramble to catch her attention. You remain fixed. That is the point where her curiosity turns into something far more visceral. She realizes that she is not dealing with a man who can be swayed. She is dealing with a force of nature that exists independently of her approval. Her storms have no power over your architecture. You are unshakable. And to a world built on the shifting sand of validation, that is the most lethal thing a man can be. You are not cold. You are simply solid. You are the only thing in her world that does not demand, does not plead, and does not break. Look at the landscape of modern connection. It is a crowded marketplace. Everyone is shouting, everyone is selling, everyone is performing for a momentary nod of approval. Men curate their lives like products on a shelf, desperate for the validation of a click or a glance. They dance when she plays music. They rush to answer when she calls. They are trapped in a cycle of constant availability, mistaking their exhaustion for devotion. It is a stage play where the script is written by someone else, but you have the power to walk off the set. You stop the performance, you stop the constant updates, the curated photos, the immediate replies. You stop playing the game of attention economics. The moment you cease this performance, you stop being a commodity. You pull your resources back into your own life. You are no longer a face in the crowd trying to catch her eye. You are the spectator who has stood up and walked toward the exit. The air shifts when you stop selling yourself. The noise of the market fades into the background. You are no longer a participant in her chaos. You have become a ghost in her machine, a presence that she cannot account for, because you are no longer playing by her rules. When you vanish from her digital reach, you do not just disappear. You become a haunting. You are the shadow in the corner of her routine, the silence where there should be noise. She reaches for the familiar rhythm of your attention, the predictable ping of a message, the constant availability that anchored her day. But she finds nothing. The screen stays dark. The notification bar remains empty. You have pulled your energy entirely into your own orbit. This is the moment you transition from a man she could measure to a ghost she cannot exorcise. You linger in the periphery of her awareness, a persistent, unanswerable question. She looks for you in the crowd, in the messages of other men, in the hollow feedback of her social circles. But the space you occupied is now a vacuum. You are not gone in the sense of being forgotten. You are present through the weight of your absence. She feels your departure like a change in atmospheric pressure. It is a haunting that keeps her mind fixed on the void you left behind, unable to reconcile the silence with the force you once exerted. You are no longer a man she can label or contain. You are the ghost that refuses to fade. The silence you left behind is not empty. It is heavy. It sits in the center of her day like a physical weight. She wakes up and checks her phone, expecting the usual confirmation of her importance, but the screen remains cold. She scrolls through the messages of a dozen other men, yet their words feel like static, hollow, and thin. They lack the gravity of your absence. She finds herself refreshing her inbox, waiting for a signal that never arrives. The itch starts in her mind. It is a persistent, gnawing curiosity that grows with every hour of your non-participation. She tries to fill the gap with activity, moving from one distraction to the next. Yet her focus keeps sliding back to the vacuum you created. She is no longer just looking at her phone. She is hunting for the reason why the world has suddenly gone quiet. The absence of your validation is now the loudest thing in her life. She is forced to confront the space where your attention used to flow, and for the first time, she feels the sharp edge of the unknown. She is waiting, she is searching, she is becoming unsettled by the very silence that you carry with perfect ease. The dynamic has shifted. The roles are no longer what they were. She sits with her phone, fingers hovering over the glass, but the impulse to reach out is no longer a choice. It is a surrender. She types a short message, deletes it, and types it again. This is the moment the hunter becomes the hunted. She is no longer in control of the interaction. She is a prisoner of her own anticipation. The power she once held over your attention has evaporated, leaving her to pace her room, waiting for a signal that she can no longer demand. She looks at the screen, and for the first time, she sees her own desperation reflected in the glow. She is the one waiting. She is the one checking the timestamp. She is the one wondering if she has already lost the game. She realizes that the silence is not a void. It is a wall. She is locked on the other side, watching the clock, waiting for a permission that may never come. The chase has ended, but she is the one left running in circles, caught in the gravity of the man who refused to move. She is finally, irrevocably, the one who is being tested. True power does not shout. It does not demand. It exists as a constant, heavy pressure that bends the air around it. When you enter a space, you do not need to announce your arrival. Your presence acts as a silent command, a gravity that pulls the focus of everyone in the room toward you. She feels this shift the moment you appear. The noise of her own internal chaos hits your stillness and instantly dissipates. You are the mountain. You are the anchor that refuses to drift. While other men exhaust themselves with words and frantic gestures, you stand unmoved. Your silence is not a void. It is a declaration of complete stability. She watches you, her own movements slowing to match your pace. The room changes because you refuse to be altered by it. You occupy the space with a calm that demands respect, not because you ask for it, but because your energy is too heavy to be ignored. She realizes then that she cannot affect you. She cannot shake you. She can only stand in the orbit you have created. Your calm is the ultimate authority. It is the wall she cannot climb, and it is the only thing she truly desires to possess. If you feel the friction of this transition, it is because you have finally stopped playing by the rules of the weak. Most men live their lives as pawns, moving whenever she beckons, hoping for a sliver of validation in return. They are exhausted by the game. They are drained by the constant search for approval. But you are moving toward a different reality. The sovereign mind is not a philosophy. It is a tactical manual for the man who refuses to be moved. It is the blueprint for those who have realized that owning the board is the only way to win. You stop reacting to her whims. You stop waiting for her permission. You start building a reality so firm that she either walks into it or remains outside looking in. This is the moment you stop chasing the reflection and start becoming the light. You no longer need to perform. You no longer need to explain. You simply exist, immovable and absolute. By shifting your frame, you force the world to reorganize around you. You are no longer a participant in her chaos. You are the architect of your own. This is the path of the man who owns his own mind, his own time, and his own destiny. Number 3, mystery is your shield. Look at the common man. He is a frantic narrator of his own life. He feels compelled to explain his feelings, justify his plans, and document his insecurities. He is an open book with nothing worth reading. He offers his entire internal world for free, leaving no room for wonder. The man who is rare, however, keeps his counsel. He does not need to justify his existence to her or anyone else. When he is silent, it is not an accident. It is a deliberate choice. He does not reach for words to fill the gaps in a conversation. He lets the silence hang, heavy and impenetrable. This is where the dynamic shifts. By refusing to explain, you transform from a predictable variable into a profound mystery. Human nature is drawn to the unknown. It is the moth to the flame. She will not ask you to stop, but she will feel the sudden, jarring lack of access to your thoughts. You are no longer a toy to be analyzed or a puzzle she has already solved. You are a fortress with closed gates. The more you withhold, the more she is forced to project her own curiosity onto you. You have stopped being a servant to her interest and started being the master of your own depth. Now, the dynamic is inverted. She watches for a sign, a text, or a glance, but finds only your absence. This is the moment terror takes root. She is accustomed to men who operate like clockwork, their needs and reactions laid bare for her to manipulate. You are different. You are a shifting shadow she cannot map. She tries to anticipate your response, to calculate your next move, but there is no pattern to follow. This unpredictability creates a void that she desperately tries to fill. She is terrified because for the first time, she is not the one holding the leash. She is the one standing at the edge of your orbit, waiting to see if you will notice her at all. The tension is not in what you do, it is in what you refuse to do. By failing to be addicted to her approval, you have made her addicted to your indifference. She tracks your movements, dissects your silence, and searches for a vulnerability that does not exist. She is no longer looking for a man to play with. She is looking for the man she cannot break. The more you remain unmoved by her storms, the more she realizes she is losing the game. You are the only person in her world she cannot control, and that is why she cannot look away. Human nature is fundamentally wired for the pursuit of the unknown. Like a moth drawn to a flame, she is pulled toward the very thing that threatens to consume her peace. It is not love that drives her now. It is the hunger for control over someone who refuses to be mastered. She has spent her life surrounded by men who offer themselves up like sacrifices. She knows how to dismantle them, how to read their maps, and how to predict their next desperate step. But you are a blank map. You are a terrain she cannot cross. This is the brutal reality of attraction that most men fear to face. She does not crave the man who gives her everything. She craves the one who denies her access to his core. She watches you move through your world, focused on your own path, and the silence you project becomes a deafening roar in her mind. She is terrified, yet she cannot turn away. She tries to find a crack in your resolve, a sign of weakness, a moment where you finally reach for her validation. It never comes. That is the point. She is addicted to the hunt, and for the first time, the prey has become the predator. She wants what she cannot hold. You are not a toy to be played with when she is bored. You are a force to be reckoned with. The dynamic has shifted permanently. When she tries to test your boundaries, she finds no give. She finds iron. Your life is an energy field, a distinct territory with its own gravity. She either chooses to step into your world and respect the rules you have set, or she remains outside, watching from the periphery. There is no middle ground. You do not chase. You do not beg for entry into her life. You invite, and then you continue your own work. When she realizes that your path is not dependent on her presence, her internal landscape fractures. She looks at her phone, at the endless stream of desperate attention from others, and sees the hollowness of it all. She sees the noise for what it is. Then she looks at your silence. It is not an absence, it is a wait. It is the sound of a man who has mastered himself. She is standing at the threshold, realizing that if she does not step forward now, the door will close. You are not waiting. You are moving. She has to decide if she is a passenger or if she is meant to be left behind. The threshold is narrow. She stands there, watching the space you occupy, waiting for a glance, a sign, or a hesitation that never comes. You do not look back. You do not pause to gauge her reaction. Your focus remains fixed on the horizon of your own purpose. This is the moment the dynamic cements itself. By continuing your path, you strip away the final illusion that she holds any power over your direction. She sees a man who is not defined by her gaze. She sees a man whose feet are set on iron ground. She realizes that to stay behind is to vanish, and to follow is to commit to a standard she has never encountered. You walk forward, your pace steady, your rhythm unbroken. The sound of your footsteps is the only signal she receives. There is no negotiation. There is no compromise. There is only the movement of a man who knows exactly where he is going. That independence is the ultimate magnetism. It is the quality that makes you the only man she cannot erase from her mind. She watches until you are gone, and in that absence, she finds her answer. You have already moved on. And that is precisely why she chooses you The chase ends here. You stand at the edge of a new reality. The men who beg for attention are still drowning in the noise, still refreshing screens, still waiting for a flicker of approval that never changes their worth. But you have stopped. You have redirected that energy back into your own craft, your own mission, your own iron. When you stop seeking validation, you stop being a servant to the opinions of others. You become the lighthouse. You become the standard. This is the moment you reclaim your seat at the head of your own life. If this message has hit home, if you are finished with the theater of modern pursuit, type "I choose myself" in the comments below. Let it be a marker. Let it be the final word on your old, needy self. Share this truth with another man who is currently losing his way in the pursuit of people who were never meant to complete him. The man who stops chasing is the man everyone notices. He is the man who commands respect because he no longer demands it. Walk away from the game. Own the board. You are the architect of your own value. Choose yourself and watch how the world rearranges itself to follow you.